A strong sense of number is the foundation of all mathematical activity. The key challenge of the foundation phase classroom is to assist children to develop a strong sense of number. The foundation phase teacher must help the children first to achieve level 1 number sense, and from there to nurture the development so that the child will reach level 3 number sense, which should be for at least 2-digit numbers. This should be achieved by the end of grade 3. Furthermore, children need to have frequent opportunities to count both rote and rationally, topics that were covered in Learning Unit 5. Opportunities must be given for the child to count individually as well as in a group. They need to learn the names of the numbers and the sequence in which they come. The teacher can use a variety of activities such as counting rhymes and action songs to achieve this. Remember that in addition to this, the CAPS document says that in the theme of numbers, operation and relationships, the main progression in numbers, operations and relationships happen in 3 ways. Namely, the number range increases. Different kinds of numbers are introduced, and the calculation strategies change. Furthermore, foundation phase teachers should be aware that as the number range for doing calculations increases up to grade 3, learners should develop more efficient strategies for calculations, and contextual problems should take account of the number range for the grade as well as the calculation competency of the learners. In order for the numbers to have meaning, the children need to engage in rational counting activities. The teacher needs to help the children to organize the objects they are counting from one place to another as they are counted. While keeping it in mind, let's look at the progression that will take place from grade R to up to grade 3 in terms of numbers, operations, and relationships. Remember, number, operations, and relationships is only one strand or one component of the whole mathematical curriculum that children need to work through in the grade R year. With regard to count objects, one can see that in grade R, the learners are required to count concrete objects and estimate and count to at least 10 everyday objects reliably. Whereas in grade 1, they still are required to count concrete objects up to grade 3, but in grade 1 the number is moving upwards from 10 in grade R up to 50 by the end of grade 1. Also, in grade 1, counting by grouping is encouraged, whereas in grade R, as you can see on the screen, it is an individual task. In grade 2, by the end of grade 2, the estimate and count to at least 200 everyday objects reliably, as well as counting by grouping is encouraged. And by the end of grade 3, a child must be able to count at least 1,000. And as well, once again, counting by grouping is encouraged. With regards to count forwards and backwards, in grade R, count forwards and backwards in ones from 1 to 10, and they are allowed to use number rhymes and songs. They make use of a lot of number rhymes and songs. That is how they learn how to count up to 10. By the end of grade 1, they must be able to count forwards and backwards in ones from any number between 0 and 100. Furthermore, they must be able to count forward in tens from any multiple of 10 between 0 and 100. In fives, any multiple of 5 between 0 and 100. And twos from any multiple of 2 between 0 and 100. It is clearly obvious that in grade R they must be able to count in ones, but if there's a child that can count up in multiples, then you won't stop him in grade R. Don't put a damper on his positiveness and his willingness to count, but by the end of grade 1 he must be able to do it. By the end of grade 2, you must be able to count in ones from any number between 0 and 200. Must be able to count in tens, any multiple between 0 and 200. In fives, multiple of fives between 0 and 200. In twos, between 0 and 200. Threes, between 0 and 200. And fours as well, multiples of fours between 0 and 200. You'll see that the children are quite familiar and quite fast in learning how to count in twos, fives, and tens, but they do struggle with threes and fours. So give them ample opportunity to count in multiples of threes and fours, as they really do struggle with it. And then by the end of grade 3, all of the above, but now they must be able to count from 0 to 1000, in tens from 0 to 1000, in fives from 0 to 1000, in twos from 0 to 1000, in threes from 0 to 1000, in fours from 0 to 1000, and then they must be able to count in 20s, 25ths, 50s, 100s, so up to 1000 as well. When we look at number symbols and number names, very important for us, grade R, they must be able to recognize, identify, and read numbers up to 10, between 1 and 10, and they must recognize, identify, and read number names up to 10 as well. So the symbol as well as the name. Whereas in grade 1, recognize, identify, read number symbols from 1 to 100. They must be able to write the number symbols from 1 to 20. Very important, they're not required to write the number symbol in grade R, although there are quite a few grade R classes that force the children to write number symbols. It is not a prerequisite to be able to write a number symbol by the end of grade R. But if the child can do it, you won't stop him, you will encourage him to do it. In grade 1, they must recognize, identify, and read number names from 1 to 10, and they must be able to write number names from 1 to 10. So in grade 1, they must write down the number symbol as well as the number name, but the number symbols for up to 20 and the number names only to 10. Whereas in grade 2, must be able to recognize, identify, and read the number symbols up to 200. They must be able to write the number symbols from 0 to 200. And then once again, they read, identify, and recognize number names from 0 to 100. And be able to write down the names from 0 to 100 as well. And then grade 3, they must recognize, identify, and read number symbols up to 1000, write number symbols up to 1000. They must be able to read number names up to 1000 and write number names up to 1000. Now here everything is up to 1000. When we look at describe, compare, and order numbers in grades R, they must describe whole numbers up to 10. They must be able to compare which of the two given collection of objects is big, small, smaller than, greater than, more than, less than, equal to, most, least, and fewer up to 10. And then they must order more than two given collections of objects from smallest to greatest up to 10. Whereas in grade 1, they must be able to describe and compare collections of objects according to most, least, and the same as. And they must describe and order collections of objects from most to least and least to most. Very interesting, you see that in grade 2 and in grade 3 there's nothing, because we assume that they will be able to do it, and they must make sure as a grade 2 teacher that they are already on path, but by the end of grade 1 they have to master these skill. When we look at describe, compare, and order numbers in grade R, they use ordinal numbers to show order, place, or position. develop an awareness of ordinal numbers, for example, first, second, third, up to sixth and last. Whereas in grade 1, describe, compare, and order numbers up to 20. Grade 2, up to 99, and grade 3 up to 999. In grade 1, 2, and 3, they must be able to describe and compare whole numbers according to smaller than, greater than, and more than, less than, and equal to. In grade 1, they must describe and order numbers from smallest to greatest and greatest to smallest. And then use ordinal numbers to show order, place, or position, and position objects in a line from first to 10th or first to last. In grade 2, like I said, describe, compare, and order numbers up to 99. They must also be able to describe and compare whole numbers up to 99 using smaller than, greater than, more than, less than, and equal to. They must be able to describe and order whole numbers up to 99 from smallest to greatest and greatest to smallest. They must be able to use ordinal numbers to show order, place, or position, and position objects in a line from first to 20 or first to last. And then in grade 3, describe, compare, and order numbers to 999, more than, less than, and equal to. They must also be able to describe and order whole numbers up to 999 from smallest to greatest and greatest to smallest. Once again, they use ordinal numbers to show order, and they use read and write ordinal numbers, including abbreviations from first, second, third, up to 31st. With regards to place value, there's none required for grade R. Nothing with regards to place value or required for grade R, but in grade 1, begin to recognize the place value of at least 2-digit numbers up to 20. Decompose the 2-digit numbers into multiples of 10 and 1s. In grade 2, recognize the place value of at least 2-digit numbers to 99. Decompose the 2-digit numbers up to 99 into multiples of 10 and 1s, and identify and state the value of each digit. Very important. Then in grade 3, decompose 3-digit numbers up to 999 into multiples of 100, multiples of 10, and units or ones, and identify and state the value of each digit.